Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I want to talk to you guys about why I like to carry a double action only gun. And what double action only means is that every time you squeeze the trigger, the hammer has to come all the way back and goes forward. And so basically every squeeze of the trigger is a long pull, okay? As opposed to, let's say, like a Glock, which has a nice short trigger pull. Well, the reason why I like to carry a double action only gun is because the holster that I like to carry. Okay, I like to carry inside the waistband in a in a soft collapsible holster, because basically the holster is soft. It's narrow, so both the gun and the holster are narrow. And basically, not only can you not see that I'm wearing a gun, it's tight to my body. Basically it sits between my hip joint and my buttocks. It sits in that hollow over there. And even if I'm, let's say, rolling around in the grass with my kids, the gun doesn't stick into my body. Okay, so let's pull the gun out, and if you look at the trigger, okay, when I squeeze that trigger, you see how you got a long pull, and then basically after you fire it, the gun would reset, and then every time you fire it, you got that long trigger pull, as opposed to, let's say, something like this M&P Shield. This is the 9, the Shield 9. Got really short trigger pull. This is a much lighter trigger pull. Same deal with the Glock. It's a very, very short, easy trigger pull. And I do like shooting these guns. The thing is, if you're going to carry a gun like this Glock 19, it has to be carried in one of these hard, form-fitted Kydex holsters. Okay. Basically, this gun doesn't have a safety on it, and the safety mechanism on this gun is basically the holster. Okay, the holster basically covers the trigger guard, and you cannot get to that trigger unless you pull the gun out of the holster. Okay, so the holster is just as important as the gun safety-wise. Now with the collapsible holster that I like to carry. Okay. This holster will fit this this M&P Shield, but because it's collapsible, I mean, basically, this can snag. Basically, I can get my finger in there. See how? First of all, the holster itself can actually, and this has actually happened. There was a guy. He had a leather holster. He had a Glock in a leather holster, and the holster collapsed, and basically it pushed up against the trigger, and the guy shot himself in the leg, and that makes us all look stupid. So we don't want that to happen. But with this type of a gun, basically there you go. I just set the trigger off. Okay, so even though the gun's in the holster, you can there's a way that you can activate this. Whereas when it's in the hard holster like this, there's no way that you can get to that trigger unless the gun comes out of the holster. Okay? So this is really the only safe way to carry a striker fire gun. It has to be in a hard holster that covers the trigger. With the double action only gun, all right, like this Ruger LCP1, this is the original one that has that long trigger pull. This I can put in a collapsible holster, and I can put this inside my belt, and I can safely carry it because of that. It's got that long, stiff trigger pull. Now, Ruger actually, they actually developed the LCP2 because a lot of people didn't like this trigger because it was so hard and stiff. But I think that for everyday carry where you really are not expecting to have a problem, I think that this is an ideal type of gun. It's small. It's got that stiff trigger pull. If let's say if you got toddlers around the house and you happen to fall asleep, like I got toddlers, and they'll usually pick my pockets and stuff like that. If somehow by some way they were actually to get to my gun, they would not have the strength in their fingers to pull that trigger all the way back. Okay, not that I'm recommending that you or anybody test that theory out, but it's a pretty stiff trigger pull. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I like a stiff trigger pull for everyday carry. Now, in a shit hit the fan type of situation, or or if there's riots, or I know there's burglaries going around town, for a short period of time, I would stop carrying this setup altogether, and basically go to, a Glock 19 and carry it in, in this Kydex form-fitted holster. And, of course, I'd have to probably change the way I dress, just because I wouldn't feel comfortable walking around with this thing with this anchor sticking out of my waist over here. Okay, so that's the main thing I wanted to bring out for you guys. I wanted you guys to know that if you like carrying light, consider getting one of these, LCP ones, the original ones with that hard double action only trigger, because you can very comfortably carry this in the summertime, and it's not going to stick out a lot. You can wear shorts, you can wear it inside your bathing suit. The gun does not stick out that much. If you're going to carry, anything that's striker fire that has a relatively light trigger pull, it has to be in a hard form-fitted holster that covers the trigger guard. And there's no way that you or anybody can get to that trigger. Now, it doesn't make a difference whether you're carrying outside the belt, outside the waistband, inside the waistband, appendix carry. I don't care where you're carrying this. If you're going to carry a Glock-like gun, okay, that has that type of a light trigger pull, it has to be in one of these Kydex holsters. But there are my thoughts on that. If you have any feedback, comments, please post it. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Talk to you guys next time.